Mr. Costa Mwansa. Mr. Costa Mwansa, of course, is a renowned TV broadcaster who is well known for hosting hard talk shows such as The Assignment on Movie TV.
The president himself, we've been told your ranches have been flown over. The president has mocked you in the public place to say you speak on behalf, you claim to be speaking on behalf of the poor, yet you own probably half.
Jumping onto TV the very first time was the starting of everything as the big break, because without that exposure, everything else that comes after wouldn't have happened. Later on in the years, transitioning from merely being a practitioner into being a business owner within the media space is currently one of the things that I'm enjoying as the most present day big break. Life is all about grinding and getting to work to achieve set goals and targets. Before the big break, less responsibilities because you do not have to think about paying salaries, you don't have to think about achieving certain benchmarks. So less sleep now as it was before, more responsibilities now than it was before, but hard work pays, the perks are good. I think for me the challenge has always been that Zambian journalists don't push themselves beyond the limit or the envelope of being unique and digging below the layers of everything they're doing, whether it's in terms of stories, investigating, analyzing, or being extraordinary as you do your interviews, as you do your packages. I believe that in a global environment such as this one with online and social media, the pool of competition is not just within the boundaries of our country. So what I did different is basically learn more in terms of internships in and out of Zambia, diversify the craft out of normal journalism, mainstream, going to do law, but it's also the art of discipline, researching and just basically working harder. I have to sadly say that many journalists feel very lazy to investigate, to research, to read harder, and just basically stretch beyond the boundaries of normal 5W and H journalism. I feel my biggest courage is drawn from the fact that I'm doing this for the public, and when I'm on set and somebody's before me, what is always in me is that what is the viewer out there wanting me to ask, or if they were given a chance to ask this politician or president before me, what questions would they ask? So I do everything I do in public interest, and I feel that my biggest protector is the public, because we do it for the people and not for me. And I don't think really that it's about courage. For me, it's basically doing my job, because if I come off in an interview and I do not ask the questions in public interest, then it's time wasted. So it's not really the courage, but performing in accordance with public expectations. This job takes you to different places to do work. To be an entrepreneur as well means putting in a lot of hard work to make your business succeed. So you're spending more time in the office or more time outside building your business empire than you're spending in building your family. So yeah, less time with family. Every family gets affected with issues of trolling and bullying on social media. Obviously nobody would want anything negative or critical to be said about people they love. So once in a while they do get affected to hear their dad or their husband has been taken to the police because he's accused of leaking the budget speech. Nobody loves that feeling. So yeah, I think it takes a toll of them, but they do understand my type of job. It's not that I go to look for trouble. Sometimes trouble comes looking for me. The world has evolved from Stone Age to Iron Age to computer age to digital age. Now we'll be going into a metaverse. What has changed is that communication or journalism or filmmaking is evolving in terms of how stories are told using different technology and platforms. It's like using an old reel or tape camera, and now people are using 4K, 5K, and things like that. So for me, what the fundamental basics of journalism, of truth telling, of fact telling, of accuracy, of balance, of not defaming people, of respecting children's rights, of respecting human rights and the dignity of people must be respected as long as you call that journalism. The difference is that you're using a phone and not a camera to shoot that. You are not telling that story on a big TV screen or on a radio set or on a newspaper. They're using Facebook or YouTube. So it's just the platforms that have changed. And I don't think it's right that because the platform has changed, people should break the rules. So I'll talk about fact-telling as an example. The biggest challenge on social media aspects of misinformation, that you've got people who are not skilled communicators to do fact-checking and will basically throw out speculation, and people are feeding on that. And here for me is why guys like me in the business will still remain relevant regardless of social media, because we know the craft of fact-checking and we will stand to defend stories that we push out there. So many. I'll pick two. One, locally with the late President Michael Sata before he became president, because he was a very, very difficult person to interview. And I was very young then. For him to accept to have a sit down with me was an honor. And very few people have interviewed him since he became president, later passed on, may his soul rest in peace. The other, not really an interview, but having to ask a question at State House to former President Pierre Banda, may his soul rest in peace as well. And when he was answering that question was when the famous monkey peed on him. Another interesting one. The last is at the African Union Summit when I interviewed late President of Libya, Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. And I was asking him to say, for the sake of my viewers in Zambia, could you just answer me in English? And he would speak in Arabic or Amharic to me, and he refused to answer. And he says, this is why Africa is not original, because you want me to speak in a colonialist language when I'm speaking in my mother tongue. So I will not do that. It's either you ask me a question in a Zambian local language and I answer in that. But after the interview, he calls me on the side and starts speaking to me in English. So it was just the irony of the fact that these are leaders who are very Pan-African and patriotic, and it was an honor to interview a colonel who had contributed to African emancipation, and probably the only president I know who's got 10 female bodyguards. Embrace and adapt to what is happening in the industry, and basically technology, because our industry moves at a very fast pace in terms of technology there. And they must understand that content is what drives this industry. So be creative, be innovative, but adapt with the trends of the time, because you can only survive by looking beyond the curve. And so know where the future is going. If you understand the numbers and know the trends, then you can survive.